Hey, what's going on, guys? So here we are installing the Sakebomb ignition coil system into my right-hand drive RX7. I got the Touring X model. Like I said, this is my FD RX7. It's the first FD I've ever owned, not the first JDM car I've ever owned. I do have my R32 Skyline over there, but like I said, this is the first rotary I've worked on. So, you know, a lot of you guys probably know the coil system in these cars is kind of a weak link. So one good thing to do is kind of update to these sort of modern coil systems. And I got this one from Sakebomb. So, you know, Sakebomb is really great, but the only problem is if you get the right-hand drive system, which basically when you buy these, there's two different kinds. You can get the left-hand drive bracket or the right-hand drive bracket. The instructions are very, very similar, except the brackets obviously are different. But the problem is the instructions that you get with the system really only talk about how to mount the left-hand drive. They don't really talk about how to mount the right-hand drive. I've reached out to Sakebomb about this, and basically, you know, I said they were really nice, they're really helpful, but basically they were like, yep, we should have instructions for that, but we don't. Here's some pictures. So I'm kind of trialing and erroring it here, but I did want to sort of post this video. So this is how I got it set up, right? So basically what'll happen is there's these two little brackets, or these two little rectangular brackets. They're kind of mirror images of each other, and you kind of assemble them in a line like that with the two little hex head bolts, or excuse me, the two little Allen head bolts there. You can see them, and you kind of put them in tandem. And then they fit into this larger bracket here with these two tangs and this eyelet up top, and that'll actually go onto the frame rail, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. So this is the way I assembled it, with, you know, the leading ones, or the first rotor on one side, which will end up being the leading edge, and then the second rotor on the trail edge, and I put the leading plug in front, trail plug in the back. We'll see if that works out. But the big thing I want to point out with this is, notice how I had to sort of alternate the way the coils are in there, and the reason why that is if you look on the back where the electrical connectors go in, if you put them back to back, what'll happen is the if this, excuse my crude video making here, I'm new to all this, but I did want to post this just kind of help you all out. But so if you put this guy on the other side here, what'll happen is the little security tang will get in the way. It'll butt up against the front coil to where you won't be able to click it down. So you have to sort of, or at least this is the way I decided to do it, to kind of stagger them up like that, and we'll see if that works. But anyway, you mount it to the bracket. Basically what happens is, like I said, these little rectangles are mirror images of each other. There's 4 holes in the back. On either side, one is threaded and one is not. For the threaded ones on this side, you end up using those little Allen head bolts to secure it. On this side, you just basically use the one bolt that's provided for you. That just goes into the threaded portion, and then on the one portion that's not threaded, you just use the other Allen head bolt with the nut there on top, and that's how you sort of assemble that. So if you have any questions, you guys can definitely email me, and I'll kind of help out as best I can. But like I said, the instructions really only talk about the bracket for the left-hand drive model, and don't really talk about the right-hand drive. When I reached out to Sakebomb, all they really did was just acknowledge that, yep, the instructions don't cover the right-hand drive. Here's some pictures, and they kind of went from there. So this is the way I decided to do it. We'll see if that works, and we'll be back here in a little bit. Okay, so this is probably the hardest part for me to figure out when Sakebomb sent me those pictures. Basically, they were like just trying to figure out where exactly on the frame rail it gets mounted up. If this is blurry, I do apologize, but basically where I'm at is, this is the left-hand side of the car. This is the left frame rail over here. This is the starter up here, and you know, this is the rear of the subframe. If you look up just above that, there's 2 little holes there, and then there's that threaded hole up there. Now there is a bracket that's sort of screwed on there, holding that main wiring harness in place. So that I had to take out. And if you notice, I do have air conditioning still on my car, so this air conditioning line is in the way. That's going to have to be sort of just kind of moved out of the way to get that bracket on. Hopefully it's not that big of a deal, but like I said, those two little tangs at the bottom of the ignition bracket go into those holes right there, and then that top eyelet goes where that hole is, that little threaded hole is there, and then there's some hardware that you use to kind of screw that in. So that's where it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and mount it up, and we'll be back here in just a minute. Alright, so you can see I got it in there. There's those little two tangs and those two holes, and then I know if you can't really see it too much, but that hole, or that bolt, is up there. And as you can see, I was able to sort of, I had to kind of motivate the that air conditioning line around there, but it went in just fine. Be careful because you have some brake lines back here, so be a little bit careful about that. But as you can see, I was able to kind of finagle it back in there, no problem. So, all right, so there it is. At least there's the bracket installed, and we'll be back with the coils installed in just a second. All right, so you can see I got it all mounted up in there, and I got the wires connected. So I found it easiest to put the bracket in first, then put the front two coils in, tighten them down, and put the rear two coils in, tighten them down. The only thing that was kind of a pain is on the back here, that starter wiring harness is kind of in the way. I had to motivate it out of the way a little bit to tighten up the last bolt there, but it really wasn't too big of a deal. But to try to put it in all in one unit, it would probably be really difficult to, honestly, probably impossible. So, alright, so that's pretty much all I have to do under here. I'm going to go back up top and start routing the rest of the wiring. From here on in, it's pretty much the same thing as the instructions that Sakebomb gave you. So, yeah, so it's really not that big of a deal. So you can see it's not too bad. You still got... sorry, I don't know if you can see this too well. Still got plenty of room on this side. Sorry about all the rat's nest. I got a little bit of cleaning up to do, but as you can see, you can still get to your plugs from here, so it's not too bad. And if anything, it's probably going to clean things up a little bit up top, because you're going to be able to eliminate the coil bracket that's underneath the upper intake, and you can get rid of all that in that mess. So, all right, well, but we'll see once we're all done. So, all right, back in a bit. Alright, so this part was tedious but not very difficult. Basically, you just have to run the main harness up, and then it connects to a couple different places. So you remove your stock igniter, you don't need that anymore, but they do give you a pigtail that connects to the car's main harness that way, and you need to ground it. Like I said, this basically, you just follow the regular instructions from here forward. Just a couple things I will point out though. When you do send it up, I would recommend sending it up forward of that main wiring harness there, simply because you got to have enough slack to lead the positive terminal connector all the way up to the positive battery connector. There is a negative battery connector that needs to go to the negative terminal on the battery, and then you have another negative that needs to go to the engine harness, or needs to go to the engine ground. I haven't hooked that up yet, so the next thing I have to do is remove the intercooler piping and the throttle body to go ahead and connect that engine ground wire to the main engine ground. And then when I do that, I can go ahead and remove the old coils and get rid of them as well. Now, allegedly, that'll help with like better airflow around the engine block and that sort of thing. At least, that's what they say. So, like I said, this part wasn't hard. This is the exact same as is in the instructions that Sakebomb will give you. It wasn't hard, it was just tedious. So, okay, back in a little bit. Alright, so just an update. I got the, you can't really see, but I got the wires, the actual spark plug wires hooked up to the coils. See if I can shine a light down there so you can see it. Yeah, not so much. Yeah, all I can say is, it kind of reminds me of working on my dad's 91 Firebird back in the day that, some are easier to get to from up top, some are easier to get to down from the bottom, so I don't have any real words of wisdom to give on that. I don't know, retrospect, maybe it would have been easier to hook up the wires to the coils before mounting the coils. like I said, it wasn't that hard. I did end up giving some blood to the automotive gods in getting those things in, but like I said, just understand that some are easier to get from up top here, and then others are easier to get from down the bottom. The big thing is you know, Sakebomb gives you, you know, these really great labels, so just make sure you label them correctly. The spark plug wires are labeled. They give you stickers to label the coils, and then they give you stickers to label the wires that come off the main harness. And they tell you very specifically in the instructions on how to label those wires. Just make sure you follow that. Obviously, I didn't show you that step because I had done it previously, but just make sure you follow that correctly, and just make sure you pay really close attention to what coil is going to what wire as you hook those up, because, you know, just like a V8 engine, if you don't do it correctly, you'll friggin' disintegrate your engine potentially, you know, if you don't hook them up right. So, all right, next I got to tear off, like I said, that pipe and the throttle body to go ahead and hook up that main ground, or that engine ground, and then tear out the old coils and potentially get rid of them. So, all right, back in a little bit. All right, so here we are. You know, my coil packs are removed, the brackets are removed, and I went ahead and hang on a second. Let me go get a flashlight. All right, that's better. So you can see, like, the old coil packs are removed. There's the ground from the Sakebomb harness that's attached to the block around there. So I had to remove the upper intake manifold to go ahead and remove the coil packs. That was unfortunate, but you know, it was kind of a pain in the butt to remove this, but you know what, at some point I wanted to get, and there's the dreaded you know, rat's nest that a lot of you are probably familiar with. So at some point I wanted to tear this all off to replace those old rubber lines with silicone ones. So you know what, now's the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that before I put this all back together and start it up. But you know, it's kind of nighttime here in Texas. The goddamn mosquitoes are out having a feast on me, and I kind of want to go drink a soda. So I'm gonna stop for tonight, and then tomorrow I'll pick back up replacing all those, or as much as I can, those vacuum lined. All right, so you know, all in all, this was a pretty decent install. It took a while, but it wasn't hard. It just wasn't very intuitive either, which kind of a problem. But like I said, that's kind of I wanted to make this video and kind of show y'all how to do it, because there just wasn't a whole lot online. Once you get the actual right-hand drive bracket installed, the you know, Sakebomb gives you really great instructions. It's really super easy after that. Some of it is a little bit tedious, but not bad. You know, and we'll see how this goes, and I'll fire it up. The whole reason why I did this is, you know, so I just got this FD. I've had it now for maybe a month, and it was just, it was giving me a lot of problems. I mean, it started up well, but after running or driving for about, you know, 5 or 10, 15 minutes or so, once it got up to operating temperature, it would start idling really bad, and then eventually it would start dying, and then it wouldn't be able to start again until it cooled off. So makes sense. It's probably the coil packs that are doing that as they heat up, you know, taking all the heat off the engine. And, you know, honestly, these coil packs are kind of notoriously not the greatest anyway. So that's why I went ahead and upgraded to this, you know, more modern system. I did the same thing in my R32, except it was a shit ton easier to do in a RB26 engine than it is in a rotary engine. But hey, what are you gonna do? It's no big deal. So we'll see how that upgrade goes. We'll see if that solved the problem. If not, so anyway, you know, follow my channel here if you want to. I got plenty more upgrades to do on my FD. I got a bunch of parts coming in, and, you know, more projects and shit along the way. So you know, I'll probably do more stuff to my R32 and my Camaro and my GTO and stuff like that, so I'll probably post stuff like that too. So like I said, you know, you got to figure, like, these cars are amazing. They are fantastic cars, but you got to think, I mean, they're 25 years old at this point, so even though it seems like new-ish technology, it's actually kind of old if you think about it, especially when we start talking about some of the electronics and stuff. I mean, it's 25-year-old technology. You know, if you want to put that into perspective, just to make the math easy, let's say this was a 95 FD, then, you know, I'm comparing it to, it'd be like comparing it to the technology it had to, like, my 1970 Camaro. So you're comparing this kind of stuff to, you know, cars that still had points, for crying out loud. So, you know, it stands to reason that some of the electronics on these things are just, you know, kind of old, and old technology that need to be updated. But so anyway, like I said, I hope that helps if you guys end up doing the same project. You know, if you want to shoot me any questions, I'll help as best you can. And like I said, I'll fire it up, probably do another video when I do that, and I'll let you know how it goes. All right, so enjoy your weekend all. See you in a little